The process of filing for divorce in court can vary depending on your location, but generally, there are a series of steps you'll follow. Here is an outline of what typically happens, along with an estimated timeline. Keep in mind that timelines can differ based on the complexity of the case, the jurisdiction, and whether the divorce is contested or uncontested. Step 1. Filing the divorce petition, also known as the complaint. What happens? The divorce process begins when one spouse, the petitioner, files a divorce petition or complaint with the court. This document outlines the reason for the divorce, basic details of the marriage such as assets and children, and any requests for relief like custody or support. Time frame. This is the first step, so it's done at the start of the process, usually taking a few days to prepare the documents. The court will then set a date for your spouse to respond, which could be within 20 to 30 days after being served. Step 2. Serving the divorce papers. What happens? After the petition is filed, the respondent, your spouse, must be served with the divorce papers. This means they are formally notified that the divorce proceedings have started. Time frame. Serving the papers typically happens within a few days to a few weeks after filing, but this can vary depending on how easily you can locate your spouse and if they agree to accept the papers. Step 3. Responding to the divorce petition. What happens? Your spouse has a certain period, usually 20 to 30 days, to file a response to the divorce petition. In the response, they can agree or disagree with the terms you've proposed, such as custody and division of assets. If they disagree, the case may become contested, requiring more time to resolve. Time frame. Typically, the spouse has 20 to 30 days to respond. If they don't respond within that time frame, you may be able to proceed with a default judgment. Step 4. Discovery and negotiation if applicable. What happens? If the divorce is contested, meaning the spouses disagree on terms, this is the time when both sides gather information through a process called discovery. This includes exchanging financial documents, assets, debts, and other relevant information. You may also engage in negotiations to settle issues like child custody, alimony, and property division. Time frame. This can take a few months to 3 years for average couples, depending on the complexity of the case and whether both parties cooperate in providing the necessary information. Cost, from a minimum of $50,000 to well over $100,000 per person. If you own a successful business, add another $50,000. Step 5. Temporary orders, if necessary. What happens? If there are urgent matters such as spousal or child support, custody arrangements, or living arrangements, you can ask the court to issue temporary orders while the divorce is pending. Time frame. Temporary orders can be requested early in the process and may be granted within a few weeks, depending on the urgency of the situation. Step 6. Mediation or settlement conference if applicable. What happens? Many courts encourage or require mediation or settlement conferences before proceeding to trial. This is a process where a neutral third party helps the spouses come to an agreement on contested issues such as child custody, support, and property division. Time frame. Mediation can take place within a few months of filing, depending on the court's schedule and the willingness of both parties to negotiate. Step 7. Finalizing the divorce. What happens? If both parties reach an agreement, they can submit a settlement agreement to the court for approval. If the divorce is uncontested and everything is agreed upon, the court will review the documents and issue a final judgment of divorce. Time frame. For an uncontested divorce, this may take a few weeks to a few months, depending on the court's workload and schedule. A contested divorce may take longer, especially if a trial is necessary. Step 8. Divorce trial, if necessary. What happens? If the parties cannot agree on all issues, the case will go to trial. A judge will make decisions on the disputed issues, such as property division, child custody, or spousal support. Each side presents evidence and arguments, and the judge issues a final ruling. Time frame. A trial may take several months to prepare for and could take anywhere from a day to several days depending on the complexity of the issues. After the trial, it could take weeks to months for the judge to issue the final divorce decree. Step 9. Final judgment of divorce. What happens? The final judgment of divorce is the court's official decision which formalizes the end of the marriage. The judge will include details about asset division, custody arrangements, support orders, and other pertinent matters. Time frame. This can happen anywhere from a few weeks to several months after the trial or settlement, depending on how the case was resolved. Estimated timeline summary. Uncontested divorce, 1 to 6 months assuming both parties agree on terms. Contested divorce, 6 months to 2 years or more depending on complexity, negotiations, and trial. It's important to note that the timelines mentioned are rough estimates as each case is unique and delays can occur for various reasons, such as backlogs in the court system, the need for additional documentation, or complications in negotiations.